So a former co-host of Undisputed has come out with a damning report against Skip Bayless. Let's check it out.
I can't say anymore. I'm probably already in trouble for mentioning it to well, we call you normies.
So some of you all might remember one Cris Carter, right? The Hall of Fame legendary wide receiver in the NFL. He was a former co-host of Undisputed. He was let go for some undescribed reason, okay? It was in the tabloid, it was in the media heavy for a couple of days. He was also on ESPN First Take for a while, which I believe he was also a contributor along with Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith at the time. Well, Cris Carter has been off of Undisputed for, I think, since 2020 or 21. It's been a few years now. You can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments section how long it's been. But in any case, he has come out now on this podcast called Fully Loaded, and he had some very colorful things to say about Skip, right? Now we're about to get into it and break it down, all right? Because this is a YouTube video, I have to get my fair use clause. So for all of you, stop playing the video, ninjas. For all of you, let the video play, ninjas.
Get out! Get out! Get the stepping!
If you're still here, thank you for your viewership and participation and fair use.
All right. I'm gonna move to a guy I don't like. I don't want to ask you about him, but I want to be honest.
Oh, my goodness.
I want to be honest. I don't want to
Okay.
lie. What do I mean? I'm just telling you.
Right.
So Skip Bayless is leaving his Undisputed deal. I've never watched the show. I've watched clips when it was him and he was doing his thing with Shan. I've watched a lot of it. I didn't take to it. Plenty of people did, obviously. He's been on TV for a long time. I didn't take to it because it was a screechy, I don't like it. It's like, I've argued with people that like scream at me like they're in 6th grade, and it's a lot for me. So it's not that he didn't play. That doesn't, his opinions, his strong opinion. It's the screaming that like it sends, because it's screechy.
A lot of people.
What's that?
A lot of people, that type of communication,
Yeah.
the debate world.
Yeah,
And that's only been popular like the last 10, 12 years. That's it. 10 years.
Like Stephen A. has his opinions. He's not screeching. He's making his points. He speaks well. He's funny. It doesn't look like he completely loses control of his emotionality.
Now, in Skip Bayless' defense, I believe that Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless both have a tendency to kind of get bigger than the rest of their hosts. They become very passionate, if you will. They both tend to sometimes seem like they're yelling or trying to talk over the other co-hosts. So in my opinion, Stephen A. Smith does the same thing. Maybe people like him better than they like Skip Bayless because, Skip Bayless, of course, he talks about LeBron a lot and things like that. So people tend to not like Skip Bayless over Stephen A. Smith. But in my opinion, I think they both kind of have the same attitude, if you will.
When people lose control of their emotionality, I'm like, dude, I'm out. I'm gone. That's just how I feel. Okay. For whatever that's worth, who cares? But he's leaving. And then ESPN said they're not doing anything with him, I guess.
Why would they?
Well, what's your opinion?
They just signed Shannon to an extension.
Correct.
Like, so this is how ESPN does stuff. Okay, Shannon, we know you're a commodity. Come over here. This is something new. We believe you guys could have some chemistry. Stephen A. had already told us, he'd like to add you to the show in some capacity. Let's do this partial deal.
Yeah.
Let's do a couple days a week. Let's date. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
That's commitment enough.
Yeah.
I'm gonna date you only. You're gonna date
married,
me only.
date.
No, we're gonna date. We're gonna have a good time. And Shannon overwhelmed them with his success and his following. Because Shannon comes with the following.
He blew, he's just blowing up.
So Stephen A. gets along with most every athlete. So it was just a matter of who was going to be the right athlete to be in there with Stephen A. going back and forth in conversations, because that's really the height of the show, to have someone who you respect, because that's the thing.
Now, real quick, and I have to pause this because this is going to get kind of lengthy, but, and he hasn't gone off on Skip right now. It's kind of like a prelude to how he really feels about Skip, but he's right. And most people on YouTube have said this before. Shannon Sharp has millions of followers on YouTube, right? He also has millions of followers on IG too. But he's got the nightcap. He's got, what's the other one? Club Shay Shay. Both of those have been highly successful. So Shannon Sharp comes over, he brings his personality, his attitude. They get along well with Stephen A. and the rest of the panelists, on the rest of the contributors on First Take. And with Shannon Sharp having his large following, he gets to bring those fans also to ESPN. So ESPN benefits twice for Shannon Sharp. And of course, because Shannon Sharp was so successful, Undisputed, he brings that experience now that he had on Undisputed to ESPN. Okay? So he meshes well. He gets another bag with ESPN. He still got his million followers with YouTube. He's got his liquor, I believe he has now. So Shannon Sharp, elevated going to ESPN. Again, we'll see how Skip Bayless does, but Shannon Sharp, he has upgraded since Undisputed, and rightfully so. So,
a number of years ago, I was on a show with Stephen A. and Skip Bayless. And
Both of them?
Yeah, both of them, on their show.
Yeah.
I was working at ESPN doing NFL. I would do Mike Greenberg after doing my NFL stuff, and then I would come on there because Stephen A. and I were friends. I didn't know Skip personally, and I'm going to be honest with you. Skip Bayless is not one of my favorite people.
I can imagine.
Okay. So I'm on there doing the show. I do the show and everything. And then all of a sudden, this is when the Tebow phenomenon was going on. And he was a huge Tim Tebow guy. This guy is this.
I remember it.
Okay.
Oh.
So I come on there on a Monday, and, we're trading barbs and everything. We go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then I just level set it and was like, listen, if throwing the football is important in the NFL, Tim Tebow will never be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Yep.
Well, I have to say that is facts. Tim Tebow was popular. Tim Tebow was popular because he had this kind of underdog kind of attitude, if you will, okay? So while he wasn't good at throwing, he did his best to stay determined and, just try to win, all right? So in that respect, he was a good athlete. He was a good competitor. However, was he accurate or good at throwing the football?
Nope.
They even tried to make him a running back at times to give him like all the option plays and just try to make him like a pseudo running back. Did that work?
Nope.
And now he is, I believe, a commentator for college football, okay? I think he had one really good season. I think that was, and I don't believe in luck, but that season he was very fortunate. But after that, he was terrible. He went from team to team, and eventually his career pretty much fizzled out. So Chris Carter's not lying about him. If it came down to him throwing the football being accurate, he would never be a starting quarterback. Now, if it's just about, trying to win and putting him in, making him this kind of quarterback by, committee like they do running backs, then he might have had a chance. But he was not accurate at throwing the football, okay? He had glimpses, but he wasn't consistent at all.
So he got defensive, and then he came back and said, well, that's why you didn't win a Super Bowl.
Oh. Enemy spotted. Now, see, that's the same thing he did with Shannon Sharp, okay? So, because he said something about your guy, whether it was truthful or not, he said something about the guy that you like. And in response, you insult his career. You don't just come back with a better argument. You insult him. And matter of fact, you insult him in the worst way because you insult his career, something that he feels very proudly about, okay? And in that respect, he messed up with Chris Carr the same way he messed up with Shannon Sharp. You insulted his career. Let's run that back. Let's run that back.
So he got defensive, And then he came back and said, well, that's why you didn't win a Super Bowl. Okay.
So what'd you say?
Which got nothing to do with nothing.
Agreed.
We went to commercial break.
So you didn't say nothing before commercial. He just said his.
No.
Okay. Good man.
I took my earpiece out and I told him, I'll never be on your show again.
Yeah.
And if you ever say anything like that to me again, I'll punch you right in the fucking face.
Good for you. That's why I like you. What?
Hold up, let's go. I need my sound effect.
Ain't no way.
Yeah,
Ain't no fucking way.
I would say the same thing to him. All right, you insulted me. We're having a conversation about a player, analytics, whatever. We're giving opinions, and because I said something that maybe offended you because I'm talking about your guy, just the same way that he was talking about Tom Brady when they were having their debate on Undisputed with Shannon Sharp. What he does, he says, well, you're just mad because you didn't play as long as Tom Brady did, because you don't have as many Super Bowls as Tom Brady is. You're just jealous of him, right? Well, he's better than you. That's what he said on Undisputed to Shannon Sharp. The same way he told Cris Carter on First Take years ago that you're just mad because you didn't win a Super Bowl because I'm talking about Tim Tebow. What does it have to do with Tim Tebow being a good or bad quarterback? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, bitch. Yeah, bitch.
Let's let Cris Carter keep cooking. For just $5 a month, please consider becoming a member of Welcome to Normieville. There you will find access to members-only videos and members-only live streams, as well as a host of other perks. Thank you for your consideration. Back to the video.
He couldn't say anything because I got up. I'm off the set. Then the producers came. Hey, Chris,
Raising up.
It's not necessary. Then the people came from the back.
Yeah.
You know, Stephen A. was like, Chris, man, this is not.
They know what time it was.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm not doing nothing. I'll never be on another show. I
Fisticuffs
won't be
coming.
on this show ever again as long as he's on here.
Correct.
So then come 3 or 4 years later, he goes to Fox. I leave ESPN. The guy that was directing the show was hiring the people at Fox.
Okay.
So he's like, man, I know, man, y'all had a dust up. Do you have any problem with him? I said, I don't have no problem with him.
No.
I don't have no problem with him
Pay
at all.
me, I'm good.
No. Well, we talked to him. He doesn't have a problem with you. Why would he?
Yeah.
Why would he have a problem with me? So I had very little interaction with him when I went to Fox, but I knew that it's like playing in a card game that the deck is tricked up. Okay, so number one thing you should know about Skip Bayless and some of the programming, the way that it was done at ESPN and at Fox, I'm going to say this, that it's a form of wrestling.
Really?
Yeah, you know who going
like
to win.
it.
You know who going to win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, see, here's where I believe some of the politics of sports commentating is about to come in, because just like wrestling, like he said, it's what he's trying to say is that a lot of things that happen on this show was probably choreographed, probably planned out, because with wrestling, like, I'm a grown man now, I can admit that, because I used to watch wrestling when I was a kid, as a young adult, actually, and I can admit now that some of this stuff that's why they call it sports entertainment, because it's wrestling, so there's a lot of physicality to it, but it's also entertainment. There's a storyline, there's narratives, there's planning and choreography. Even with the wrestling moves, there's choreography that goes into it. So a lot of stuff is planned. Some of the stuff's off the cuff, some of it's off script, and wrestlers, when they get older and they retire, then they go on these shows and they talk about some of the stuff that was unscripted, some of the beefs that were real backstage. Sports commentary is also that to a lesser degree.
It's predetermined. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And a lot of the arguments and everything are either predetermined or assigned.
You're going to win this one.
And everything is slanted in Skip and Stephen A's favor.
And so now you see why Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith to a lesser degree when they're going to have these back and forth debates. And you hear one of the panelists or one of the contributors, they're actually giving a good argument, but somehow Stephen A. Smith always trumps them. Just like I would say Max Kellerman, just like I forgot the one guy that went to Fox. I forgot his name. But you know, a lot of these guys that have good arguments, but somehow the flagship guy always end up winning the debate. Yeah.
They pick the subjects, and they pick what side they gonna take.
Then you got to defend the other one. It's like showing up to court and picking out what you want to do for. Yeah, let me look at the odds first, then I'll pick my side.
And now I'm gonna say something about Stephen A. Stephen A. is an authentic dude. He is a journalist. He's a broadcaster. He's also an entertainer. And he's fair. And Stephen A. has a treasure trove of information about people that he would never let go on the air. It would make him more popular, but he'll never
do it.
He would never do it because he's got stories, he's got context, he's got relationships, he's got sources like that would carry you a lifetime in the business. Like he is legit. He is the real deal. But to me, it was always Stephen A. was always carrying Skip.
Yeah, agreed.
And Stephen A.'s audience was accepting of Skip, or it just got them so fired up that they really got into the debate thing. The other thing when he went to Fox was he didn't know Shannon was going to be the commodity, and he had no clue that Shannon was going to have the type of following that he was going to have to bring to this.
Woo-wee. Now, in my opinion, how Skip used to always say that Shannon was jealous. Well, that one line where he says Shannon was jealous of him during the Brady argument. I believe personally that Skip was actually jealous of Shannon for the reason that Cris Carter just said, because Skip didn't realize or didn't know at the time that Shannon was going to be as popular as he was. But Shannon's attitude, his personality, and everything else made the show bigger than Skip, right? And of course, Shannon Sharp left, Skip got other panelists, and the show really just ended up sucking. But really, people tuned in to the show, one, for the debates themselves, two, but because of Shannon Sharp, because Shannon Sharp was entertaining. He used to come on with the goat mask, he used to come out with the Hennessy and then the Black and Miles. He had all these catchphrases and stuff his dad used to say and his grandfather and the old people used to say and all that. He made the show entertaining and interesting to watch. Skip just wanted to make a point all the time. He wanted to be right, which, yeah.
He underestimated that, and Fox tried to play cheap. They underplayed their hand, with him, realizing that because in debating, there's only two places you can go, either ESPN or Fox.
That's right.
So there's not a lot of places for sports broadcasters, and most sports broadcasters are not into debating. That is the style of the last 10 years, and has been very, very favorable to create these daytime shows, to create content during the week. But to me, I never thought he was authentic. I never thought that I should take him serious because he covered the Cowboys and now he's trying to talk about the NBA, talk about LeBron.
Yeah.
I've seen these arguments and stuff that are, you'd have to be a lunatic to believe what you're saying.
Correct.
And they swear, oh man, he believes every argument. There's no way that he can believe that LeBron is not a clutch player.
Correct.
There is no way that he thought Tim Tebow was going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, because he's a smart guy. He's not an idiot.
He can't be an idiot. I would agree.
But
with that.
sometimes he acts like one.
For the show, for the production, for the.
I just think he has made a business out of coming up with outlandish comments.
When he said to you and talked shit about a ring, was he emotional about it?
He wasn't. It was more.
It
was more of a no. It was his protection from the show because they created the show. Like him and Stephen A. are the show.
Right.
And when you are the show, you say stuff like that. Like if we're in the
I see, in my opinion, that's why, and Stephen A. Smith has done this before too, but he usually comes out and apologizes. This is another reason why sometimes these guys go on these shows and they'll say something that's very, I'm not even gonna say controversial, like he said, just outlandish, just dumb, like, or something that's unbelievable, right? And because they're the show, it's something like they have to one-up you. Like if you say something that is actually factual, well, then they have to one-up you by saying something else, like to take over the momentum of the argument. You understand what I'm saying? So he starts talking about Tebow. He says Tebow will never be a quarterback. And for Skip to one-up him to gain momentum in the argument, he starts talking about he didn't win a ring. Again, same thing with Shannon Sharp. Well, he starts talking about Tom Brady. He had a bad day, blah, blah. Which at that point, when they had the argument or the debate, Tom Brady wasn't playing well. And well, because again, Skip had to win the argument, essentially, he gives him a low blow, right? Which will work negatively to the person that's giving it, right? Skip Bayless.
he don't say nothing like
obviously.
that.
Yeah.
So a lot of people get on TV or get behind a mic or get behind a camera and they got what you call studio courage.
Like liquid courage when you drink too much.
Yes. Yes.
Studio courage.
Yes.
That's a good one. We got to write that one down.
That's a good one. Studio courage.
So they think they're really tough. And I hate the way he tries to portray, that type of image. Yeah. And, to me, he took advantage of black culture.
Explain
like
that.
He tried to tap into things like he started wearing a gold chain.
Oh, here we go. Because, see, Skip Bayless. Now, I don't know if he was taking advantage of black culture. Maybe, he was trying to be down or whatever, because of Shannon. But, yeah, he was wearing gold chains. He always wore the Jordans. Now, whether he wore that all the time personally or he did that just to kind of be popular, be with the in crowd as far as publicly. But then the whole thing with Lil Wayne, which I don't know if that was authentic or not, but I mean, he took pictures with the guy at his house and all that kind of stuff. So I'll leave you, the viewer, to debate that.
Started wearing Jordans on the show. Like, bruh, bruh.
He said, bruh.
Like,
I can't laugh. I'm sorry.
I mean, there's no way you and Lil Wayne could be close. Like, you trying me.
Yeah, correct.
And to me, it took advantage and kind of exploited the fandom of African-American people because people show up to support Shannon.
Yeah.
People show up to support Stephen A.
No doubt.
And then they have to tolerate him.
Correct.
And he knew that. But, to me, you have to have a heel in wrestling.
You do. Some of them, everybody literally can't fucking stand.
Yes.
Those they're whiny, screamy, couldn't fight their way out of a wet paper bag. But it's
a lot
people watch.
The way those shows are developed. I've been in these meetings with these shows. I know the people that produce these shows, people that direct these shows. It's staged.
And we're going to cut it right there because it's getting lengthy, but y'all see what's going on, right? Cris Carter got disrespected by Skip Bayless the same way Skip Bayless disrespected Shannon Sharp. And, well, by Cris Carter's words here, Skip really is not that dude. Is he experienced? Yes. Does he have, is he, a OG out here as far as commentating? Yes. But people don't really like him as much as they like everybody else. And not because he's white. It's because he just doesn't come off as a likable guy in the public. So he's tolerated by the fans because they came to see Shannon and they have to tolerate Skip, right? He's on ESPN on First Take. People come to see Stephen A. and they have to tolerate Skip. Okay, so it seems like Skip is always second in command if you ask me. But I'll leave y'all to debate that in the comment section. And with that being said, thank you for attending another episode of Normieville. You know me, I'm just Normie here to bring you the latest and greatest in sports, news, entertainment, and politics. Let me know what you think about the revelations here of Cris Carter down in the comment section. And please, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell on your way out of the door. And I will see you on the next video.